everyone. Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
恭喜恭喜 everyone.
恭喜发财.
That's right, it's Chinese New Year. So we're going to begin a 3-day look at someone's big Chinese New Year dinner.
Ooh.
It's an exciting time of the year, isn't it? Have you done all your preparations for Chinese New Year?
No, not yet.
Nothing? Your spring cleaning?
Oh, not yet.
Oh, have you hung up some of those spring couplets on your door? You know, the lucky sayings, the writing people put around door, wishing you a happy new year, long life, health, happiness.
Yes, we have fu and then it's upside down.
It's upside down?
Yeah, because that means that the luck is coming to you.
Oh, it wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
You did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I see. A few years ago, I bought some spring couplets at the store, and I thought I would surprise my wife by putting them around the door. She'd come home from work, and she'd, oh, that's so nice. I put them upside down. I didn't know which way the writing was supposed to go. I didn't look very carefully, but she came home laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? You should be so happy and calling me so sweet and kind. And she's like, you put them upside down. It says nothing. So yes, Chinese New Year preparations take some time.
Yeah.
They take some knowledge of what you are doing, and they also take some serious cooking skills.
Oh yeah, it takes a long time to make those
It
food.
does, as we're going to discover in our dialogue today, tomorrow, and the next day, as we check out Jerome having his very first Chinese New Year dinner. There's going to be a lot of food on the table, and we're going to find out what it's all about. We're also probably going to get a little bit hungry.
Probably.
So get a snack.
I'm hungry already.
Watch the video, and then we'll be back. Maggie and Jerome are at her family home.
Wow! Is all this food for Chinese New Year?
Yes, and each dish has a special meaning too.
Ooh, that interests me. Can you tell me about the chicken?
So yes, from cleaning your apartment, cleaning your home, hanging your couplets, doing all of your getting your red clothes ready to wear to play mahjong. There are many things to do during Chinese New Year, but this month we're really just going to focus on the food part. So, as we begin our article, What to Eat During Chinese New Year, we're going to find out all about it along with our two characters.
Our two characters are Maggie and Jerome. Maggie and Jerome are at her family home. I'm guessing this is the first time that they're visiting her family home.
Could be. So this is Maggie's family, and Jerome is clearly a guest for their big Chinese New Year dinner. And yeah, it might be Jerome's first Chinese New Year, because as he sees that dining room table just covered with food, he says, wow, is all this food for Chinese New Year? Because it's a lot of food. They might be expecting 8, 10, 12 people, who knows, to come over for dinner. But even if it's just Maggie and her family, there's probably still a lot of food there. And I can imagine if Maggie was visiting Jerome's home for, I don't know, Thanksgiving or Christmas, she would probably say the same thing. Wow, is all this food for Thanksgiving? Well, yeah, it's a big celebration, and eating is a big part of it.
Maggie says yes, and each dish has a special meaning too. So of course it's Chinese New Year, and a lot of the dishes have names that sound like something very lucky, or they have symbolism. So there's different meanings associated with it to bring us good fortune and prosperity and wealth and health for New Year.
Okay, so yeah, those are the meanings of some of those dishes. Now, when we use this word dish, we can use it in a couple of ways. Most simply, a dish is just something you put food in or on. We're talking about plates, bowls, things like that. We don't often call cups and things dishes, knives and forks, but certainly bowls and plates, from the little rice bowl to a big soup bowl that you serve out of. Those are dishes. Now we can also use it though to talk about the prepared food on the table. If you're really hungry, you might go to a restaurant and order 3 dishes or maybe 5 dishes if you're sharing with a few people. That could be anything from a salad to a steak to a hamburger to a small dessert. When you're ordering food, each thing that you're ordering or each thing you're preparing in the kitchen, that is one dish. So at a normal meal, you might have a meat dish like with some chicken, you might have a couple of vegetable dishes, and maybe a dish at the end, a sweet dish as a kind of dessert. So this is one type of food. Doesn't matter if it's on a plate or a bowl. If you're putting it on the table and it's one type of food for people to eat, that's a dish. What a delicious dish. Tell me how you made it.
Okay, so for Chinese New Year, we have many, many dishes, and these dishes have special meanings. So we have the word meaning here, which is a noun, and meaning is what something stands for. For example, there is a dish in Chinese New Year that's a big fish, and the word fish stands for leftover. It's the same sound in Chinese. So the meaning of that dish is to have more than you need and have much wealth that's left over. So when we talk about the meaning of something, that means one thing equals something else. One thing stands for something else. If I don't know what a word means, I can say, can you tell me what that word means? Or what is the meaning of this tradition? Then the other person would explain the story behind it.
Yeah, and often in different cultures, we use signs and symbols, and to the people in the culture, they understand it. They get the meaning. But for people from outside the culture,
No
they're
idea.
like, I see the people doing this, but why? What is the meaning? All right, so let's get back to the meanings of some of these dishes. Jerome seems to be quite interested in the culture and the tradition of Chinese New Year, so he says, oh, that interests me. He's curious about it, he wants to know more. So he points at the first dish, one of the bigger dishes on the table, and he says, can you tell me about the chicken? Now this could be a whole chicken sitting there or just lots of pieces of cooked chicken, but he is interested in the meaning of this chicken dish, if there is a meaning, because I guess some of the dishes don't have a meaning.
Yeah.
They just taste good. But anyway, he wants to know more. He is interested in something. So to be interest or to show interest or to interest you means your brain likes it. Your brain wants to know more. You have questions, you want to learn. It's basically the opposite of being bored by something. If you're bored, you're like, oh, I don't want to know. Stop it. I don't care. No, if you're interested, you do care. You do want to know, and you are trying to learn more. All right, well, we're very interested in Jerome's experience with his first Chinese New Year and the dishes on the table. We'll find out more all about them after the break.
Sure. The chicken is a symbol of family and unity.
That's cool. How about the fish?
That's a symbol of abundance, so we'll have more than we need for the year.
I like the sound of that.
You'll like the dumplings and spring rolls more. They're symbols of wealth because they look like old gold money.
So Maggie's about to explain what the chicken stands for because that's what Jerome asked. Maggie says, sure, the chicken is a symbol of family and unity. Interesting. So unity is a word that means coming together. The verb is unite. So when we talk about unity during Chinese New Year, it's when everybody in the family comes together and gathers around for a nice meal, just like Thanksgiving or Christmas in America. And unity is a symbol of togetherness, and it's very peaceful where everybody comes together. And we want to wish that for everyone so that people can have a good relationship.
Yeah, have a good Chinese New Year together and also have unity during the year, right? So you don't have family arguments and fights so that the family doesn't break up. You want to have unity, everyone kind of on the same team. All right, so Jerome, he's listening to this, having the meaning of the chicken dish explained to him. It's about unity. So he's like, oh, okay, that's cool, all right? He likes that, the idea of family unity. Yeah, that's a great idea. and it's also cool and interesting that the chicken symbolizes that, or that is the meaning of it. Now his attention is caught by another of the main dishes on the table. How about the fish? He says. In other words, what is the meaning of this fish on the table?
Maggie says that's a symbol of abundance. So we'll have more than we need for the year. So we've talked about this before, which is having something left over. You have more than enough, and these are important symbols because they're related to the fish. It's the sound of the Chinese word, which is leftover, and fish, they sound very similar.
Interesting. So earlier we talked about that word meaning. When we talk about a symbol, well, symbols have meaning. A symbol is something that we look at. We could see it just as what it is, a very simple thing, or if you understand a little bit more, if you know the tradition and culture, you know that yes, that is just a flower, but it can also be a symbol. For example, the lotus flower is a symbol of Buddhism in some places. If you go to temples, if you watch those Buddhist TV channels, you'll see that flower. So to people who know, they know, oh, this must be a Buddhist TV channel. They have that flower. Religions do use symbols a lot, right? Those crossed pieces of wood for Christians, that's a symbol of the cross that Jesus died on. It has a lot of meaning for them. To people outside, they might look at it and go, I don't know what that is. I just see two pieces of wood, because they don't understand the meaning. In the same way, flags around the world are symbols of countries. We don't need to see a map of the country. We see the flag, we see the colors, the stars. We know that means this country. It's a symbol of that country.
So for the fish, it is a symbol of abundance. Abundance means having a lot of something. So when something ends with A-N-C-E, that's the noun form. So you can have an abundance of wealth. That means you have so much money. You can have an abundance of happiness. You're happy every day. You can have an abundance of success. You have so much of it. So this word indicates having more and more and more, and we always want to have that for Chinese New Year because that is very good luck, and it symbolizes harvest and happiness and joy and wealth and health. We want all of those things, and we want a lot of them.
There you go. And yeah, we often put the word of after abundance,
That's right.
Abundance of time, an abundance of friends, an abundance of money, that sort of thing. All right, so Jerome again, all right, though the fish means abundance and that kind of thing, he says instead of that's cool, he says, I like the sound of that. In other words, hey, that's interesting, I would agree with that, that seems like a good meaning for that symbol.
You'll like the dumplings and spring rolls more. They're symbols of wealth because they look like old gold money. Oh, it's like eating money.
Very cool, because they used to have very strangely shaped,
Yeah.
not just coins.
Pieces of gold.
The dumplings kind of look like that. So obviously if dumplings and spring rolls look like money, that makes people think of wealth, because wealth is having a lot of money. It could also mean other things. If you have a wealth of friends, it's like having an abundance of friends. But generally, if someone says that person has a lot of wealth, we probably are thinking of money in the bank. Maybe they own a lot of land, maybe they own many Ferraris and fancy homes or whatever, but basically they're not poor, they're quite rich, they have a lot of wealth or money.
Back in the day, people used to have a lot of gold.
Oh, they still have gold.
And gold is pieces or blocks of gold. This is currency for money. So nowadays we have paper money, we have credit cards, but back in the day, people had gold and people would store it and keep it, and during times of war, it would stay. It would maintain its value, and it was something that was very, very valuable. And today, gold can be used as jewelry. So we have gold rings, we have gold necklaces, and this is very expensive. So if someone gets married and there was a gift of gold necklace, then that's something that's worth a lot of money, and to wish them happiness for their marriage. So that is something that is associated with wealth.
True, and of course gold is a metal. It's very hard to find under the ground. It's kind of yellow in color, quite soft, and yeah, we make jewelry and money out of it, and even Olympic medals for the people who come number one. All right, so there you go. We've got gold on the table, we've got family unity, health, wealth, happiness, all of these good things, and a lot of food as well. We also have the food. that it symbolizes. So we're going to be getting into that and learning more about some of these wonderful Chinese New Year dishes during our next dialogue. So please come back and join us for that. Until then, gongxi gongxi everyone, bye! Maggie and Jerome are at her family home.
Wow! Is all this food for Chinese New Year?
Yes, and each dish has a special meaning too.
Ooh, that interests me. Can you tell me about the chicken?
Sure. The chicken is a symbol of family and unity.
That's cool. How about the fish?
That's a symbol of abundance, so we'll have more than we need for the year.
I like the sound of that.
You'll like the dumplings and spring rolls more. They're symbols of wealth because they look like old gold money.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 dish 名词菜肴。There are some vegetarian dishes on the menu. 菜单上有几道素食菜。Vegetarian 就是素食的。下一个单字 meaning 名词意义含义。I don't know the meaning of this word. 我不知道这个单字的意思。下一个单字 interest 动词使感兴趣。Snowboarding doesn't interest me. 单板滑雪无法让我感兴趣。最后一个单字 gold 名词黄金。Peter bought a gold ring for his wife. Peter 买了一枚黄金戒指给他的老婆。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 A tells B about something. A 告诉 B 某件事。介系词 about 指的是关于和什么有关的。我们来看看这个例句。Sue told me about her vacation. Sue 告诉我关于她的假期的事。下一个文法 A symbol of something. 某事物的象征。Symbol 这个是一个名词，表示象征、代表的意思。我们来看看这个句子。A heart shape is usually a symbol of love. 心形通常是爱的象征。最后一个文法 I like the sound of that. 听起来很不错。The sound of something 表示某事物给人的印象或者是感觉。相反的，如果你不喜欢听到的消息，觉得这个事情听起来不太妙，你可以这样说 I don't like the sound of that. 我们来看看这个对话。The news said it will rain tomorrow. 新闻说明天会下雨。I don't like the sound of that. 我可不喜欢那样。以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法，我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Hi, I'm Toi,
I'm Josh.
and today we're playing Word Drop. So we each have 3 cards with words on them that we have never seen before, and we have to work them casually into conversation. So this should be interesting.
I think it will be.
You ready, Josh?
I think I am.
Okay, I'll start.
All right.
Okay. So there are many, many colors in the world that we can see. There are reds and blues and greens, and they come in so many different shades. Red is my absolute favorite color. I'm not sure which shade I like the most, but a lot of people say I look really good in gold.
I reckon you would look pretty good in gold. In fact, I reckon just about anyone would look absolutely fantastic in gold. And when I was a kid, my favorite color was purple, I'd have to say. Which was a bit of a strange one back then because most kids were, either into blue and some are red, but I just sort of turned it on its head and combined both of them. And in fact, I found over time my range in interesting colours have changed a lot. We've gone from the purples, we've gone to greens. So I guess you could say on the whole, colours really interest me.
Interest you? Well, that's quite interesting. But with colors, a lot of foods come in different colors too, like purple. Actually, one of my friends told me she found a purple bell pepper, which I thought was quite interesting. But a dish with purple bell peppers is really hard to think of.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of dish that is purple is generally hard to think of. I was just scratching my head then thinking about what there could be. The only thing I can really think of is eggplant, and I really don't like eggplant. So while purple was my favorite color, I guess when associated with food, it's not exactly my favorite eating. But you know, I've found as well that different colors just have different meaning.
Different meaning. That's really cool. I actually think that's food associated with colors. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you know, different colors have different meaning. You could also say that we don't know what the meanings are. Like, for example, you know, what they say that red can mean anger, and even some people can go as far as to say that pink is a symbol of love.
Yeah. Well, pink a lot of times does mean that.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Colors and their meaning.